Good morning, family. Oh, what a great Shabbat we had yesterday, and now it's Sunday, and we're just going to get right into it. As promised, I wanted to share the notes that were taken at the regional meeting, the UN regional meeting I attended for Asia and the Pacific region on the International Decade for People of African Descent. And so we're first thing I want to share is the excitement that there would be a second decade. So they're supposed to be meeting. We do have a permanent forum that is planning to meet about that April 16th to 19th in Geneva, Switzerland, and discuss a second decade. And from the meeting, just the pulse of the meeting, it really was pushed quite a bit. Different people that spoke, several people spoke, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about what was discussed. One of my favorites session was the discussion by Barbara Reynolds, and she's the chair of the working group of experts on people of African descent. And what she shared was powerful. I may be missing a few things, but the recording, I'm also sent an email requesting the recording, so the recording should be available soon, as well as I sent a request for more information about the second decade. I also sent an email request as far as wanting to do an event there, so we're collaborating with Kingdom Harbinger Ministries and others, which would be Divine Prospect and other speakers to be speaking at an event that's going to be hosted by the KHM New York chapter. And so, and my good friends, Emma Leslie and Sister Santawa. So there's a lot going on. I'll be putting some more information out about that event that we're looking to have take place in March. I believe March 24th. And so I'll definitely post that information. But what I want to really zero in on is Barbara Reynolds' speech, or what she shared, and really was focusing on recognition. And so she was talking about legislation, how important it is. It's important for us, and I don't know if Barbara said this, but somebody said during the time that we should have representation. We should be representing everywhere, anywhere, on any type of school board, in our community boards. And some of us are doing that already, but really drove that home about that's how we enact change, is being a part of what's going on in our communities. So I definitely want to encourage us, if you have an opportunity to be a part of boards in your community and to be a part of the legislation process, by all means, we should be a part of that. Also, she mentioned having a visibility and a voice. That's key, is that we ought to be heard. We need to be heard. We must decide that we're going to be heard. And so I'm learning that here also in Hawaii, among the Hawaiian people. And they're very respectful of their voice and their input and their thoughts. And some of the meetings that I've attended here, it's really important that we hear from what we call the kapunas, the elders. Also, she mentioned education, and then the accuracy of historical inclusion. Woo, that word alone, can you tell I'm excited and drinking coffee? Accuracy of history inclusions. So our historical accuracy of our inclusion, so it's so important. And then she also mentioned acceptance. She said, let's remove the word intolerance. Oh boy, it was so good. And she said we need to just remove that word altogether from the language that when we're talking about what can be done for our people. It's not about tolerating us. It's accepting, woo, that we are part of the history and the very fabric, of what we're seeing in this world. We have a huge amount of things that we have given and done in this world, and it should be recognized. We have contributed highly, greatly, and so that's what she was talking about. I probably missed a few other things, but the funny thing too that they said is let's talk about why is this meeting that is for the specific Asia region, why is it being hosted in Geneva, which was a challenge for people in a different time zone to attend. And so they were very verbal about that. It was mentioned on more than one occasion that in the future, it should be in our region. The meeting should be hosted in our region. I had an opportunity and I know we had some issues with C, and so I know that stopped a lot of things dealing with the lollipop C. And so with that, that's one thing. But even coming out of that, when we went to the UN last year and it's actually the remembrance of the victims of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade. They have a Remembrance Day, International Remembrance Day every year in March. And so we went. I was happy to get on a plane and go and see, and I was expecting vendors and our music, and I was so disappointed because there just wasn't much representation. And so to make that change is to be about it. Is for someone to stand up and say, let's make a change. So there again, I'm excited about the fact that we will have representation this year. I'm looking at the time. I want this to be a very brief video. So I just wanted to focus in on that. There was a lot of Australian representation there, which was great. We got a chance to hear from those that were in leadership that represent our people, for the indigenous people of Australia. Also, we heard from people from Japan. It was just dynamic. It was extremely dynamic, and just wanting to do more, needing to do more. I'm just trying to think what else. One of the speakers that shared on the panel was talking about commitment, cooperation, and community. And so again, these are important things that we need to not just sound good about, but be all about. So I'm excited to be a part, to continue to have the conversation that we need to have, and not only have the conversation, but to see some action. So I want to share a little bit about actions. They did go into actions that have been taken, and there's several. You can again go online and see this, and there's several countries that have taken some action, some measures, but it took me a while, but I was looking for the United States, and I finally got down to the United States.